The Russian news agency TASS, Russian, Informacio Agentstvo Rossii I TASS, Romanized, Informacionное Agentstvo Rossii TASS, abbreviated TASS, TASS, is a major Russian state-owned news agency founded in 1904. TASS is the largest Russian news agency and one of the largest news agencies worldwide. TASS is registered as a federal state unitary enterprise, owned by the government of Russia. Headquartered in Moscow, TASS has 70 offices in Russia and in the Commonwealth of Independent States, CIS, as well as 68 bureaus around the world. In Soviet times, it was named the Telegraph Agency of the Soviet Union, Telegra Fnoye Agentstvo Sovjetskogo Su za, Telegrafnoye Agentstvo Sovetskogo Soyuza, and was the central agency for news collection and distribution for all Soviet newspapers, radio and television stations. After the dissolution of the Soviet Union, the agency was renamed Information Telegraph Agency of Russia, ITAR TASS, Informacio no Telegra Fnoye Agentstvo Rossii I, ITA-R TASS, Informacionное Telegrafnoye Agentstvo Rossii, ITAR TASS, in 1992, but regained the simpler TASS name in 2014. History 1902. TTA, SPTA, PTA, Rosta. The origin of TASS dates back to December 1902 when it began operations as the Commercial Telegraph Agency, TTA, Torgovo Telegrafno Agentstvo, under the Ministry of Finance, with Torgovo Promyshlennaya Gazeta's staff being the main supplier of journalists. As the demand for non-business began during the first battles of the Russo-Japanese War in February 1904, the agency had to change its name to the St. Petersburg Telegraph Agency, SPTA. As there was no change of headquarters and almost no change in its staff and function, it was a mere rebranding. In August 1914, one day after St. Petersburg was renamed Petrograd, SPTA was renamed the Petrograd Telegraph Agency, PTA. It was seized by Bolsheviks in November 1917 and by December was renamed as the Central Information Agency of the Soviet Russian Council of People's Commissars. On the 7th of September 1918, the Presidium renamed PTA and the Press Bureau into the Russian Telegraph Agency, Rosta, which became the Central Information Agency of the whole Russian Socialist Federative Soviet Republic. 1925. TASS. In July 1925, the Telegraph Agency of the Soviet Union, Telegrafnoye Agentstvo Sovetskogo Soyuza, TASS, was established by a decree of the Presidium of the Supreme Soviet, and took over the duties of the Rosta as the country's central information agency. TASS enjoyed exclusive right to gather and distribute information outside the Soviet Union, as well as the right to distribute foreign and domestic information within the Soviet Union, and manage the news agencies of the Soviet republics. Official state information was delivered as the TASS report, Russian, Subshchenie TASS, Subshchenie TASS. TASS included affiliated news agencies in all 14 Soviet republics in addition to Russia, RATAU, Ukrainian SSR, now Ukrinform, Belta, Byelorussian SSR, ETA, Estonian SSR, Latinform, Latvian SSR, now Lita, ELTA, Lithuanian SSR, ATEM, Moldavian SSR, now Moldpre, Armenpress, Armenian SSR, Gruzinform, Georgian SSR, Azerinform, Azerbaijan SSR, now AZERTAC, UZTAG, Uzbek SSR, now UZA, Kaz TAG, Kazakh SSR, now Kazinform, Kir Tag, Kyrgyz SSR, now Kabar, Turkmeninform, Turkmen SSR, now TDH, and Tajik TA, Tajik SSR, now Kovar. Over the history other affiliates existed, e.g. Karelfin TAG for the Karelo-Finnish SSR. In addition to producing reports for general consumption, TASS produced packages of content for non-public use. Western news reports and potentially embarrassing domestic news would be compiled daily into a collection known as White TASS, and particularly important news would be compiled into a smaller collection known as Red TASS. These collections were made available only to journalistic and political leaders, and to top journalists and political leaders, respectively. In 1961, RIA Novosti was created to supplement TASS, mainly in foreign reporting and human interest stories. After 1971, TASS was elevated to the status of state committee at the government of the Soviet Union. The agency was frequently used as a front organization by the Soviet intelligence agencies, such as the NKVD, later KGB, and Main Intelligence Directorate, with TASS employees serving as informants. In 1959, Alexander Alexeyev was dispatched to Cuba on a fact-finding mission, ostensibly working for TASS. 1992. ITAR TASS. In January 1992, Following the dissolution of the Soviet Union, a presidential decree signed by Boris Yeltsin redefined status of TASS and renamed it the Information Telegraph Agency of Russia. In May 1994, the Russian government adopted a resolution, on approval of the Charter of the Information Telegraph Agency of Russia, under which it operates as a central government news agency. The TASS acronym was, by this point, well recognized around the world and so was retained after being redefined as the Telegraph Agency of Communication and Messages, Russian, Telegrafnoye Agentstvo Svazi I Subshenia, TR. Telegrafnoye Agentstvo Svazi I Subshenia. The agency as a whole was referred to as ETAR TASS. In September 2014, the agency regained its former name as Russian news agency TASS. Organization TASS is registered as a federal state unitary enterprise, owned by the government of Russia. Headquartered in Moscow, TASS has 70 offices in Russia and in the Commonwealth of Independent States, CISP, as well as 68 bureaus around the world. TASS Press Center TASS Multimedia Press Center is a communication floor in the heart of Moscow. Every year it hosts some 300 events featuring high-ranking Russian officials, foreign heads of state, leaders of main political parties, representatives of the world of arts and culture, scientists and sporting personalities as well as managers of Russian and foreign business enterprises. TASS press centers also operate in St. Petersburg, Yekaterinburg and Novosibirsk. TASS is a media partner of high-profile conferences, forums and exhibitions in Russia and abroad. The agency organized the first News Agencies World Congress, NAWC, in 2004. TASS Building TASS is headquartered in a building in the Soviet brutalist style built in 1977. In November 2021, an association of Russian architects criticized plans by Moscow city authorities to renovate the building without due regard for the preservation of its historic appearance. Directors of TASS: M. Fedorov, 1902-1904, Pavel Miller, 1904-1906, S.S. Trubachev, 1906-1907, Alexander Gree, 1907-1910, O.F. I. Lamkert, 1910-1917, Leonid Stark, 1917-1918, Lev Sosnovsky, 1918-1919, Platon Kerzhintsev, 1919-1921, Nikolai I. Smirnov, 1921, Iosif Goldenberg, 1921-1922, Jacob Doletsky, 1922-1925, A. Yablonsky, 1925-1930, Yakov Kovinson, 1937-43, Nikolai G. Palganov, 1943-60, Dmitry P. Goryunov, 1960-67, Sergei Lapin, 1967-70, Leonid Zamoitin, 1970-78, Vladimir Kotintsev, 1978-79, Sergei Losev, 1979-88, Leonid Kravchenko, 1988-90, Lev Spiridonov, 1990-91, Vitaly Ignatenko, 1991-2012, Sergei Mikhailov, 2012-present, notable journalist Sevilid Kukushkin, ice hockey and sports correspondent, 22 years. See also Propaganda in the Russian Federation Eastern Bloc Media and Propaganda ETAR TASS Russian News Agency vs. Russian Courier, Inc. References external links official English website official Russian website